Kelly here for a cherry on top. It's time for our monthly design team YouTube hop. And this month we are doing monochromatic layouts. So I let that photo of my pups dictate the color that I'm going to use as my monochromatic layout color. And it's going to be coral because they're laying on my rug and they never lay together like that. And it was so cute and I had to snap the photo. So, and the rug has lots of pinks and corals in it. So that's what I decided to do. So I have this notebook or ledger paper that is like a cream color, and I'm using my clear gesso all over the middle of it because I am going to do lots of mixed media. And that is one of like my tips for doing a monochromatic layout is if you don't have a ton of supplies and the color you want to do, it's okay because you can just do your mixed media in the color, and you can make your mixed media be any color you want, right? So I have this floral here. It has little white or cream roses on it. So I pull off a strip of that, and I'm going to use these 49th and Market rub-ons, and I'm also going to accent with this like champagne gold color. I cut feathers out of a a Jane Davenport die cut. So I was going to do a strip of this coral cardstock, and then I decide to, instead of ripping it like I did with the other cardstock, I decided to use my favorite scallop large die punch from EK Success and punch a couple border strips to use. It was only 8.5 by 11, so it doesn't work fully on the 12 by 12, but when I put them together you won't even be able to know. But this is kind of like the idea that I'm going for as far as the page design, and I'm kind of going to try to do like a triangular out to the left with my mixed media. So I grabbed abandoned coral, but since I'm only using the one color of mixed media, I decide to use a stencil and my stencil brushes to just add like some depth and variation to the mixed media. So I use my stencil brushes and I just rub it through this floral stencil that looked really similar to the patterned cardstock that I decided to use. And I'm just gonna put it in 3 little sections on the gessoed area so that I not only have like my swirl of color on the background that I'm about to do, but I also have a little bit of this pattern. So then I take the Distress Oxide and I just swipe it onto the page, and I use my paintbrush and I get it wet, and I'm just kind of like blending it in, swirling it around, but then I need way more color. So I swipe more on there and I spray it down. And so I just want it to run into those stenciled areas. And in the end, I actually go back and kind of blur out some of the stenciling to make it look a little more distressed and kind of blend really well with this watercolor effect that I'm going for here. I'm just moving the color around, playing with it. And so another tip for if you're just using one single color, you can actually get different variations of the depth if you allow the color to dry and then add another layer. So that's what you'll see me do here. So I have this beautiful coral splash all over the page, but I am going to add a little bit more, and so some sections will be darker or more vibrant and some sections will be lighter, and so it doesn't look like I'm using more than one color, but I have depth to my background. I had like something like a distress crown or something left over from the stencil was in the color, so I was wiping that up. And again, I don't know if it's cheating or not, but I did use that little champagne gold to kind of accent my coral color. But I liked the vibe that it gave the page. So now I I'm kind of blurring out some of the stenciling like I mentioned earlier. As Missy would say, make it look as though it were left out in the rain a little bit. I'm going to completely dry the background, and then I'm going to use that same technique to add splatters all over. And you'll be able to see really well in the up close photos at the end the look that the splatters gives. You can't really see them on this camera right here, but in the final product it just gives another like layer to the color. So there is a close-up and slowed down version of the background, and it's time to start building my layout. This one actually came together really quickly, I guess because there weren't that many options to make when I'm only using one color. So I'm going to stick down those cardstocks there on the right side, and then I'm going to use I used the Heather Alpha die by Pink Fresh Studio to do all of the alpha in the pink floral cardstock, and then I'm using only the outline in the glitter cardstock to give this really nice little shine and outline and blend the title in with the embellishments of the feathers. So I am gluing those together. My title is going to say Must Love Dogs. Funnily enough, the other alpha die that I used, Must Love, is also called Heather, and it's from iCrafter. I'm using those chipboard, or it's actually wood veneer, I think, feathers. I think they're Dina Wakley, and they go well with my die cut feathers by Jane Davenport. And I am going to just use one to just give different levels of depth there and kind of putting the page together how I envision it going, because I want to make sure that when I put my rub-ons from 49th and Market, I'm not going to cover up any of that when I put everything back on the page. So I'm taking that wood veneer feather and I'm just rubbing the Distress Oxide on it. I'm leaving a little bit of the white shining through. And then I'll make sure to completely dry that. And then I'm going to use the Versamark and do some heat embossing with some pearlized heat embossing powder. Yeah, that's the word. Because I didn't want the coral to blend in too much with the background, because I'm using the exact same color that I used to create the background. And I had this like old world vintage vibe going on with the creams and everything. So I decided to make it pearlized, and I really like the way that it looks paired with the glitter. And I didn't have any coral glitter, or I probably just would have done that. I did actually have one piece of coral glitter paper, but it's more like a peachy coral. It didn't really jive with the rest of the colors that I had chosen. So anyway, this wood veneer piece took that very well. I don't know that it would have taken the Distress Oxide really well if I had not done the heat embossing on top of it, but that kind of sealed it in. So it's not gonna like fade onto any of my page protector or anything like that. So I'm gonna start sticking down my cardstock here so I can just be sure of where I want to place the rub-on transfers. This is like my new favorite obsession, putting rub-on transfers on top of a mixed media background. It's just so fun. And the 49 and Market vintage artistry rub-on transfers, there's all different types and they're so gorgeous. I just want one of every one they make. They're all very vintage, like it suggests, and floral or plant foliage, which is totally my jam. And I'll take this opportunity to let you know that this is a hop for the design team. There's only, I think, 4 stops. And if you comment on all the videos, you will be entered to win a gift card to a cherry on top. So it's definitely good odds. Just make sure to comment on all of them and go around and see all the cool inspiration for everybody's monochromatic layouts. I've seen them all and they're lovely. And yeah, I'm just roughing up the edges there of that cardstock. And for the feathers, I'm going to combine them so that all of the little stems are together. And maybe I'm not going to do it just yet. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the transfers. That's the only thing I don't like about the rub-ons, is that you have to cut them out to use them, and then you just have these like wonky pieces with like holes in them. But I did just keep one of the baggies that a cherry on top sends the supplies in so that they don't get too wet or anything in your box, and I just kept one of those to house it all. So it pretty much keeps them together really well. I do keep them in their sleeves as well, just to make sure that they don't come loose from the backing paper and get ruined. So I will put that doily, and then I just took the cardstock that those the feathers came in, and I thought, well, I need a small white border around my photo, so why don't I just use this? And it's sturdy and it worked. Just me saving the environment. All right, I'm really liking how that looks, and I like how the doily rub-on kind of mimics the scallop border punch. So I put the little stems together for the feathers, and then I just put some glue on the back, and I'm just wrapping this coral twine around the stems, just, haphazardly, and then I just put a little bit more glue at the end to secure it. And boom, it's done. I thought about doing a tassel, but that just seemed like a little too much trouble. I do have problems with like tying knots and stuff. It's not my forte. I'm just making sure if there were any other rub-ons on that page I wanted, and there weren't. So I go through the butterfly page. So there's butterflies that have that pop of black, which I like that it mimics the pop of the black dog that's laying on the rug. Her name is Belle. The other one is Lola. So even though you're creating a monochromatic layout, every once in a while, a couple pops of different colors will probably happen unless you maybe do your photo in black and white or something. And that's fine. Obviously, there's no rules, right? But it's a fun idea to try. And also, like I said, the layout came together really quickly because I didn't have to think too hard about what I was going to put on it. I just pulled out all my coral items. So now I'm just arranging the butterflies as to how I would like them. I will say that I do plan to add journaling off screen, and in the final photos you will see it. But I want to put the journaling below the title, and so I don't go ahead and stick down the rub-ons at the bottom because I want to make sure that they just butt right up against my journaling once I do that off screen. So I'm just playing around with how I want it, but I do go ahead and put the butterflies up at the top before I do that. Before I do the journaling off screen. And let's see, what more do I want to say? I don't think there's much more to say. I suggest that you pop over and grab some rub-ons because I think they used to be like really in style, like when I first started scrapbooking, or maybe the early 2000s because I started scrapbooking before that. But and they kind of went out of vogue. And I think that you do have to invest in nice ones because sometimes they could rub off onto your page protector. But these are fabulous and they go on really well and so gorgeous. I suggest adding them to your mixed media backgrounds. It just adds to a level of like distress on the mixed media background that really can't be achieved any other way, in my opinion. So I really like it. And I like that I could use all this like coral and butterflies because my pups are little girls. Although, I don't really care about gender norms in my scrapbooking because I will totally make a pink page for my boys, but they wouldn't really appreciate this like all floral type thing. I do love those feathers. And the glitter feathers are just totally like me. So me. Last step is I'm going to add some sequins that are the same color as that glitter. It's like a champagne gold. And that's going to finish out the layout. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you'll hop along and enter for a chance to win store credit to a cherry on top. And I'm going to put my affiliate links down below if you want to go grab your own rub-ons or any of the other items that you saw me use if they are still in stock in the store. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe. Bye, y'all.